You've probably heard this since you were a kid. Drink your milk. It's good for your bones. But what if I told you milk might not be the magical health drink we were promised? In fact, for some adults, it could be doing more harm than good. Let's talk about it, simply, honestly, and without the fluff. First off, yes, milk is a miracle food for babies. Breast milk gives newborns everything they need: protein, fat, sugar, vitamins, minerals, even growth hormones. But that's during the first stage of life. As we grow up, our bodies don't have the same needs. Now here's where it gets interesting. Most of the milk sold in stores comes from pregnant cows. And just like pregnant humans, these cows produce extra hormones, things like estrogen, progesterone, and something called IGF-1, which stands for insulin-like growth factor. Think of IGF-1 as a hormone that tells your body, grow, grow, grow. Sounds good, right? Growth is great for kids and teens. But for adults, constantly telling your cells to grow can be risky. It may speed up aging or increase the chance of certain cancers. There's also a protein in milk called leucine, which activates a system in your body called mTOR, like a cellular growth switch. Again, great if you're a bodybuilder. Not so great if you're trying to age gracefully. Here's another myth. More milk means stronger bones. Sounds logical. Milk has calcium and bones need calcium. But data from countries like Sweden and Norway, where people drink a lot of milk, show they actually have more hip fractures than places like Peru, where milk isn't such a big thing. Weird, right? Turns out bone health is about more than just calcium. You also need vitamin D, vitamin K2, magnesium, phosphorus, a whole team effort. Plus your body's pretty smart. If it's getting a lot of calcium, it starts dumping the extra. If it's getting very little, it works harder to absorb and hold on to what little it gets. Next up, blood pressure. Some heart-healthy diets say you should eat more dairy because it has potassium, which helps balance out sodium. And for people sensitive to salt, that can help lower blood pressure. But if we zoom in on just milk alone without all the other healthy habits, it doesn't seem to make a big difference. What about weight loss? You've probably seen low-fat or fat-free milk marketed as the slim choice. But when scientists actually looked at it, they found no real difference between people who drank whole milk and people who drank skim milk. Why? Because when we cut fat, we often replace it with sugar or refined carbs, pasta, white bread, snacks, and that backfires. Instead of losing weight, we just swap one problem for another. Speaking of fat, some heart guidelines say to avoid full-fat dairy to lower cholesterol. That part is true. Total cholesterol may drop when you switch to low-fat milk. But, and here's the twist, the good cholesterol, HDL, also goes down. And if you replace dairy fat with carbs, your triglycerides may go up. That's not great. Even worse, it can change the type of LDL cholesterol in your blood. There's big fluffy LDL, not so bad. And then there's small, dense LDL, the kind that clogs your arteries. When you eat too many refined carbs, the small, nasty LDL goes up. So oddly enough, cutting out full-fat dairy and replacing it with junk can make things worse. Best case scenario, if you're ditching dairy fat, replace it with healthy fats like nuts, avocados, olive oil, or fatty fish. But let's be honest, not everyone can afford that kind of grocery bill. So in some cases, keeping the whole milk may be better than switching to skim and loading up on sugar. Now diabetes. Some folks worry that milk might trigger type 1 diabetes in kids. The theory was that certain milk proteins could confuse the immune system and make it attack the pancreas. But studies didn't really support that. Others thought milk could help prevent type 2 diabetes. That didn't pan out either. So far, it looks like milk doesn't have much effect either way. But here's the big one. Cancer. This is where things get serious. Remember, milk from pregnant cows contains natural hormones. And in postmenopausal women, who normally have low levels of estrogen and progesterone, getting extra hormones from milk might not be so great. Some studies have linked high milk intake to a greater risk of hormone-sensitive cancers, like breast and uterine cancer. For men, the concern is prostate cancer. Some research suggests that drinking a lot of milk might increase the risk there too. But, and here's a surprise, calcium in milk might actually lower the risk of colon cancer. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. Also for men, the hormones in milk, especially estrogen and prolactin, might mess with testosterone. Imagine your body as a thermostat. If the system detects too much estrogen, it turns off the signal to make testosterone. This could lead to low testosterone, lower sperm quality, and even man boobs. I'm not saying milk will ruin your love life, but it's something to think about. Some people figure raw milk or farm-fresh milk is better. But here's the catch. About 75% of all dairy cows are pregnant. Whether they're on a small organic farm or in a big commercial dairy, they still produce those same hormones. So unfortunately, natural doesn't mean hormone-free. So what's the takeaway here? If you're young, active, and trying to build muscle, a little milk probably won't hurt. In fact, it might help. But if you're older, more sedentary, or have concerns about aging, cancer, or hormone balance, milk might not be your best friend. You can get calcium from lots of non-dairy foods like broccoli, kale, almonds, beans, and tofu. And if you do want some dairy, go for fermented stuff like yogurt or cheese. They have less IGF-1 and some of the hormones are broken down during fermentation. In the end, milk isn't evil, but it's not essential either. Ask yourself, is milk helping you or just something you're drinking out of habit? Thanks for sticking around. I hope this helped you think about milk in a whole new way.